Flip man checking in again, man. Flip man again, man. Feeling a little laid back today. You know what I'm saying? But peace unto everybody today, man. You know what I mean?
I'm on the clock. What you want? Some wheels?
But yeah, man, I was doing some
I'll get there as soon as I can.
just looking into a few things the other day. Or last night, rather. And it started because I just was... It felt like it was something I was supposed to look at. Because usually at nighttime I watch something like The Office. You know what I mean? But that joke wasn't doing it. So I'm like, nah, this ain't what we watching right now. So, you know, I just hopped on YouTube, you know, so I can get a good random feed of stuff, you feel me? And I just started to scroll through, see what caught my attention, man. And at the end of it all, I ended up looking at stuff about consumerism. And also that's where it started. I saw a video about the Great Depression. And, you know, that video was probably up there because, you know, what's going on with the economy right now, you know, with Trump doing all the tariffs and what have you. So, you know, videos about depressions and all that stuff popping back up on the feed, even if they were made a while ago. So that was the case. So I watched it, and it was very interesting just seeing what went into the Great Depression and what caused it. And I don't know if I want to get into all those details, but I know one of the things that brought on the depression was people taking out loans, you feel me? That was a big part of it, man. Folks taking out loans using debt, you know what I mean, to buy different things, whether it be stock, land, even just the latest, you know, doohickey, technology, a vacuum or some shit like that, you feel me? So, man, that just got me to thinking, man, you know, is debt really a good thing, like we make it out to be? You know, because usually we end up going into debt, I believe, because we don't got enough money to get what it is we got our eye on, you feel me? And, man, I just wonder, man, is that the best way to go about life? You know, even if we are trying to do something constructive with the debt, you feel me? Is that the best way to go?
The inside track is
you know what I mean?
And the excitement is addictive. Pick your horse and cheer them on to
And
victory.
just looking at what impact debt has had on people's lives and this economy, it's kind of like, why are we still making this the way to go? And I think the problem is that our country as a whole has an issue with being content. You know what I mean? I ain't finna jump through all the hoops. There's a lot more stuff I can say because I was writing about it last night and I really got into more details. But for the sake of this video, man, yeah, we're gonna jump straight into what I believe the issue is. In this country, we have an issue with being content. And I believe a big part of that comes from the marketing that these companies put out and have been putting out since they could market. You know what I mean? On a mass scale, whether it be radio ads, you know, I'm pretty sure that's where it started. Probably print, you know, in the newspaper, that's probably where it began, in print. Then you got radio, and you know, they really turned it up when we got hold of this TV thing, you feel me? That's when we started to get hit with the imagery, and I think that was most impactful to our society, man. And you know, and not even just, you know, the marketing on the TV. It could also very well be the TV shows, because you know, you see a lot of product placement in these TV shows. You see a lot of selling of the lifestyle on some of these TV shows, you know. And we began to watch these television programs and commercials, and we started to get this idea of what life should be and what we should have in our life. And it's all being put together by entities that have the intentions of selling to us. You feel what I'm saying? Like, that's their goal. They want to sell their product. You know what I mean? And just think about that. Most of us, I was born in the 90s, you feel me? Whoop, whoop. I was born in the 90s. And when we came up, the TV was the thing. I can remember, most people had TVs. People were big on the flat. No, not on the flat. We ain't had flats then, but we had the big body, big screen TVs. You feel me? With the big butt on the back. You know what I mean? The TV was a thing that we was really getting into during the 90s, man, for sure. And it was such a integral part to our society, man, because I can remember, man, we would, and I still do it to this day, watch TV and we would eat. I mean, families would, if families did eat together, you had families that would eat together and watch TV at the same time. You see what I'm saying? Like, TV was a big part of society, man. But when you just, think about, like, all the commercials we done saw. Like, every day, man, we taking in marketing. We taking in commercials on the daily, man. That's kind of like shaping our minds in a sense, man. Almost like a brainwash, if you will, just to be frank. You know what I'm saying? Where am I going, man? I'm tripping. For real. And I just think about, what impact that had on us as a people, as a country. After I started watching the Great Depression, man, I found myself on ChatGPT asking some questions. And I don't remember all the prompts and all the responses I got, but I know I ended up landing on consumerism, man. Consumerism. And that's pretty much just like, the part of our society that is hyper-focused on buying shit. You feel me? And it's almost like companies take advantage, man. And now, we do go into debt to get things. And it's almost like, some of these things we go into debt for, we look at as like, I need this. I got to have this. And, man, that's so far from the truth. Because at the end of the day, what all we really need is, food, shelter, and some may say, some may not say, companionship, friendship, stuff like that. But, food and shelter, man, at the core. But just looking at the most common debt that people go into, man. Cars. Cars, man. We live in a society where it's like you got to have a car. That's the normal way of thinking. But do we absolutely need that? We got to ask that question. Do we absolutely need these things? Like, would life not be able to go on without some of the stuff that we think we need? And I think we should begin to ask ourselves them questions as a nation, you feel me? Because this debt thing is like the way of life for us, but looking at it historically, it's been kicking our ass, man. For real. For real, man. It seemed like every financial crisis that we have in the United States, I have had in the United States, debt was a part of it. So it's like, okay, so we just gonna keep doing this debt thing. You feel me? Like, why would we keep doing this debt thing when clearly it's kicking our ass every time? At some point, the levee break. You know what I mean? And just me looking at it, man, and being a lover of God, man. One of the things I had to learn about was to be content, man. Because God has put me through a situation, man, where I had to be completely removed from everything that I thought I needed, just to find out that all I needed was God. Now, this is the only thing I really absolutely need, because He gonna give me everything that I need. And it's almost like we live in a country, man, where it's like, we want to be under God as far as protection. We look to God to be protected, but we look to God for protection, but not so much for direction. Because when we are really living for God, you know what I'm saying, we should be in that contentment space. And I'm not saying that everybody should be perfect out here or nothing, you feel me? Like we do have moments where we might want stuff, but I don't think we should have a culture of let me up out of here, man. Of always wanting and getting and getting. And I really believe that's coming directly from these companies that have the power, that want to fight fat in their pockets at the expense of they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck what it costs. They don't give a fuck about the debt that a lot of families going into, man, just to get shit. You know what I mean? I don't care nothing about that, man. And it's a sad thing, man. And I think because what? Hold on, man. Let me focus, man, on this. 79. 793. All right. But yeah, they don't care about the people, man. And I think it's because they so far removed, they really don't even know what the impacts are. You know what I mean? But then, once we experience the impact of all this debt as a country, it's almost like they are recession proof. They don't feel it. They don't feel it. They got enough money to really take advantage of a recession or depression. So, man, it's just messed up, man. It's messed up, man. But I think, man, I understand, I see black people lately, man, doing a boycott against Target, man, and that was a good thing, man, because I saw some of the numbers on that, man, and it was effective, you know what I mean? But now what needs to happen is we got to learn how to be content. Not just selective about where we put our dollars, but we as a people, not just black people, man. I think we as a people have to learn to be okay with not having the newest thing or having the freshest clothes or the most expensive this or that. You know what I mean? We got to learn to be content, man, because being in this cycle of consumerism, man, it's not helping anybody but the elite, the super rich. You know what I mean? That really don't need to make no more money. Like, they good. Man, you just see so much debt going around. You see kids going to school and accumulating debt. And it's like, who is really benefiting from this? We've been trained to think that, yeah, debt is good, build credit. But, like, what were people doing before we had the credit system or the debt? You know what I mean? The debt system we have today. Not to say people didn't borrow money. You know what I mean? If you need to borrow money, you borrow money, but not to the degree that we do it now, to where it's like, yeah, it's normal to get a mortgage on your house.
You're fine, right? Sure.
Like, what were people doing before then to survive and to be happy? You know what I mean? That's how I always kind of look at what we doing right now in society. Like, you know, how were people centuries ago living in this capacity or in regards to this? You know what I'm saying? Because right now you can look at other countries, man, and you see people being content. Like, you see little kids, happy folks be, you know, they living their life. And some people, the work that they do is the work to feed their families. That's their work. And they seem just as content, man. But us, on the other hand, we outsourcing all them kind of tasks that might really bring us enjoyment. So we can get on the clock and work for the elite. Man, it's crazy, man. But all in all, man, I just think that we need to focus more on being content as a society, man. I can't press that enough. And yeah, man, with that, man, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to do some more studying on it, looking into it. So, peace, man. For Flip Man. Word 100. Y'all have a good one.